Welcome back to another video, guys. In today's video, we're talking about the most common credit cards for people with good credit.
Stop wasting money on that dumb shit and instead put it in investment. I know it's tempting. You'll spend it and be broke again.
So welcome back, guys. I'm your bro Taylor.
And I'm your bro Ryan.
And jumping right into the very first credit card on this tier list, Capital One Savor One. So getting into the details, there's no annual fee. There's unlimited 3% cashback on dining, entertainment, grocery stores, and certain streaming services. Then you get 1% back on all other purchases. In addition, they offer some things like 5% back on hotels and rentals through Capital One, plus 8% back on entertainment through Capital One, all those being pretty good cashback rewards. And if your credit is on the better side of things, you can actually qualify to get $200 cash back as an intro bonus when you spend $500 in the first 3 months, which is super easy. I mean, $500 in 3 months, you could do that in a day if you really wanted to.
Most people's grocery bill
in
exactly.
1 month. On top of that, with that better credit, you can get a 0% intro APR for 15 months on purchases and balance transfers. After that, the variable APR does range from 19.99% to 29.99%.
So yeah, as we said, the intro bonus is super easy to get on this one, in our opinion. There's no annual fee. It's got a lot of cash back in the top categories you're spending in. So all in all, this is actually a really good card, we thought. Plus the intro bonuses of 0% APR for 15 months is a really good perk.
Yeah.
So we decided to put this as a plus pushing into the S category. So it's pretty much one of the top cards we see out there. So jumping right into our next card, sticking with Capital One, is the Capital One Quicksilver card. So this card is relatively basic. It's got no annual fee. It's 1.5% cash back on all purchases, 5% back on hotels and rentals through the Capital One portal. It's got 29.99% variable APR, and that's pretty much it, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's a very simple card, and the one we just mentioned previously has all of those things and then some, and you can see where we're going with this.
So that's why we slid this one into the B tier. It's a decent card. A 1.5% cashback on everything is a nice catch-all, but to have not much beyond that, I mean, I get that they do the extra through their Capital One portal, but a lot of people don't really like credit card portals that much, and no intro bonus of any kind is just kind of a limiting factor there.
And then 30% APR.
Yeah.
Not loving that factor.
All right, we wanted to hit one more Capital One card on this list, this being the Capital One Venture. So this card does have an annual fee of $95, but you do get offered a 75,000 mile intro bonus after you spend $4,000 in the first 3 months. On top of that, they offer 5 times miles on hotels, vacation rentals, and rental cars, both through Capital One, plus 2 times miles on every other purchase. On top of that, they offer a $120 credit towards TSA PreCheck or Global Entry, and you'll automatically get Hertz 5-star status. So a great card with a lot of great points. I mean, 2 times miles on all purchases is fantastic. The intro bonus is a little more difficult, and there is an annual fee, those being the only limiting factors here. That's why we didn't quite put it in S. It goes into that A category along with the other Capital One card.
And you can see how this could be a really good card if you travel a lot more. You get the Hertz status, you get a lot more points back on hotels, and so that makes it a really good travel card. Again, if you travel for just business or whatever pleasure, you just are often traveling. But your everyday usage, I don't know if you would love that. The 2 times points is a very good catch-all, like Taylor said. So then you got to think maybe it could be good, but for me, it leans more travel card and not my everyday card. And if you aren't sure what TSA PreCheck is, or you're not sure what the difference between that and Global Entry is, please go watch one of our previous videos. We did a whole deep dive on that, which is best for which person, and what they all mean just in general, how much they cost, all that hoopla. So please go check out that video and let us know what you think. But continuing on the list is the Bilt MasterCard. You've probably heard us talk about this a few times, but let's go over the details one more time. So the Bilt MasterCard has no annual fee. It has 3 times points on dining, 2 times points on travel booked through that carrier, 2 times points on travel booked directly with that carrier. For example, if you booked with Delta Airlines, you get 2 times points. 1 times point on rent. That's the big thing I want to emphasize with this card. Most places you can't use a credit card to pay your rent. Here, you not only get to use your credit card, but you also get points for it. And then you get 1 times points on everything else. Plus, you get double points on the first of the month and different bonus categories. And you can use those points towards your rent 1 month, or you can just save them up and bulk those points for something else and apply them for even a down payment, which is kind of insane. And then when you're looking at the APR, the interest rate, you're looking at 20.99%, maybe 23.99%, all the way up to 28.99%, depending on creditworthiness. So we like to include this card because it is an interesting card, being able to pay your rent and get a lot of points from it. Because you think, 1 point, okay, that's not much, but you're always paying, say, 2, 3, 4,000 depending on your rent. That is a big deal. That'll bulk pretty quick.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's a game changer for this card, and the biggest reason that we decided to put it in the A tier. There's no crazy intro bonus with this or anything.
Right.
The rewards fairly standard, other than the rent, but that rent just makes it its own kind of thing that really a lot of people are loving. So that's why we decided to put it in the A tier. Moving right along to the Chase Sapphire Preferred card. This card does have a $95 annual fee and an intro bonus of 60,000 points after you spend 4,000 in the first 3 months. So a pretty nice intro bonus. On top of that, you get a $50 annual Chase hotel credit, 5 times points on Chase travel, 3 times points on dining, including delivery, and online groceries, excluding Walmart, Target, and the wholesale clubs, plus 3 times points on select streaming services, 2 times points on all other travel, and 1 times points on everything else. This card also has an APR of 21.49% to 28.49%. All that to say, kind of like one of the previous cards we mentioned, this is more of a travel card than an everyday use card. So for that reason, we had to kind of pull back a little bit on its ranking. If you're looking at just travel credit cards, we have an entire video on travel credit cards. So you may see a couple of these cards on that list, but they'll have different rankings. But for this one, we decided to put it in the B tier.
Which, don't get it wrong, I know we have S above A, which kind of throws off your normal thinking, but S, A, B, all extremely good cards.
Yeah.
I definitely don't say, oh, I'm not doing that card. It's a B. It's still a great option if it works in your lifestyle. Now, moving on to the next card is the Amazon Rewards credit card. So when talking about this card, we're going to assume you have Amazon Prime. That's why you're looking into getting this card. If you don't, I'll just throw the caveat in that it doesn't have an annual fee, but you would more than likely want to have the Amazon Prime membership, which is about $140 a year. But again, assuming you do have Amazon Prime, you do get a $150 gift card. Whoa, I don't know where that Boston accent gift card. You do get a $150 gift card upon approval. You get 5% back at Amazon and Whole Foods. You get 5% back on Chase Travel. You get 2% back on gas, restaurants, and local transit, including rideshare. And you get 1% back on all other purchases. Plus 10% back on rotating selection of Amazon items. And me personally, I'll let you know, I do have this card, and there are tons of other things that pop up throughout the year.
Yeah.
Well, randomly throughout the year, you'll get bonus categories at Amazon. You'll also get going to Whole Foods. Not only you'll get the normal, but if there's something on sale, you get an additional percentage off that. So there's a lot of things. You get Prime Day, you get even bigger discounts. So there's just a lot of things that work kind of in your favor with that if you are an avid Amazon Prime user. So in using this card, I've noticed personally when you go to Amazon Prime and you click something you want to buy, then you say check out, it'll give you an option at the end. Do you want to buy this outright and then earn 5% or 7% or whatever, 10% back at the time? Or do you want to finance this over 6 months for 0% interest? It gives you these kind of options. So that's one other cool thing that you can do with Amazon. If you know you're going to get this card, then you can use it to buy a couch and you can say, I want to finance it for 0% over 6 months. Something like that might be very beneficial. For the most part, I just use it to get the cash back. And in terms of the APR, you're looking at 19.99% up to 28.74%. Starting out at 19, if you have good credit, or again 20%, that's really not that bad.
Yeah. And I mean, if you already have Amazon Prime, this card really isn't costing you anything extra.
Yeah.
So for that reason, if you have a Prime account, this is an S tier card. I mean, for no annual fee, getting this type of cash back, and if you're someone who already uses Amazon or shops at Whole Foods a lot, I mean, this is a great card to have. One reason I'm sure Ryan has it himself.
So yeah, if you use Amazon Prime and Whole Foods and you go a lot, you'll probably earn that Amazon Prime membership fee in no time by just the cash back and the bonus categories and all of that. It does a really good job of giving a lot of cash back. So that is definitely that S tier. If you don't use Amazon Prime that much, but you still use it sometimes, it probably moves slightly into the A. Still a great card.
Next is kind of a 2-for-1 special with the Chase Freedom Unlimited and Chase Freedom Flex. They're just extremely similar cards. We'll highlight the slight differences, but we're kind of including because they have so many shared details in this one little bit. So both have no annual fee. Both earn a $150 cashback bonus after you spend $500 in the first 3 months, which is very easy. Plus, they do have a 0% intro APR period for 15 months on purchases and balance transfers, which is nice to see. Other than that, the variable APR ranges from 20.49% to 29.24%. And as for rewards, this is where they can slightly differ, but they both have 5% back on travel through Chase, 3% back on dining, 3% back on drugstore purchases. And then the Flex offers 5% on up to $1,500 in purchases in bonus categories that rotate every quarter, such as gas, groceries, or online stores. You do have to activate this every quarter, which isn't really a feature that a lot of people like. I know a lot of people will just simply forget about it, so keep that in mind. And you only get 1% back on all other purchases, whereas on the flip side, the unlimited offers 1.5% cash back on all purchases, but it doesn't have that 5% back bonus category. So it's all kind of about what you think you'll probably value a little bit more. Do you like that greater catch-all, or do you think some of these bonus categories are really going to be worth it, and that 5% is going to outweigh the unlimited?
Yeah, and like we always say, find a credit card that fits your lifestyle. Don't build a new lifestyle around this really cool, fancy, shiny credit card. And so if you won't go and check the banking app all the time and look at the bonus categories and really make sure it lines up,
Yeah.
then just probably get the catch-all. That's probably the one that's going to fit better with your lifestyle. But on the other side, if you are someone, I usually do like to check those categories, see what's coming up, what kind of bonuses I can get on certain different things. Then you might want to get the bonus category with the 5%, earn a little bit more cash back because you'll pay attention to it.
All that to say, these are two fantastic top tier cards in this category. So, of course, we're considering these two cards S tier. You really can't go wrong with either of them because they just have so much going for them.
Now, jumping into a different bank, we're looking at the City Double Cash Card. So, with the City Double Cash Card, you're looking at no annual fee, a $200 bonus when you spend $1,500 in the first 6 months. You got a high chance of getting that, which is
Yeah.
good. And then you have 0% intro APR for 18 months on just balance transfers. And then the variable APR with this one is 18.74% to 28.74%. Then you get 2% back total, 1% when you buy, and then 1% when you pay that off. And then there's a limited time offer till the end of the year of 5% back on hotels and car rentals through Citi.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is a very simple card. I mean, 2% cash back. That's kind of their whole
Yeah,
stick.
yeah.
That's why it's called the double cash card. So, it's kind of, a good catch all. Nothing too exciting about it. But if you like simplicity and everything, maybe this is the card for you. So, don't read into the fact that we decided to put this into B tier. If you're like, I don't like checking apps, I don't want to look at categories, I don't want to keep track of anything, this very well could be a card for you. And I know it's a very popular card.
Yeah. So rolling into the next card, the City Rewards Plus card. This card has no annual fee. There's 20,000 points after you spend 1,500 in the first 3 months. A little bit harder to achieve, but still doable for most people. Then you get 5 times points on hotels and cars booked through City, 2 times points on gas and supermarkets up to $6,000 per year, then 1 times points, then 1 times points on everything else. There is a 0% intro APR for 15 months on purchases and balance transfers. After that, the variable APR is 18.24 to 28.24. So as you can see, this card isn't necessarily anything extravagant. Doesn't have anything super glaring that's like, whoa, that's a big deal. Doesn't have
Yeah.
any big cons. It's just a pretty standard card.
Yeah, the intro bonus out of the ones we've listed is a little less appealing. For that reason, just nothing too exciting. We decided to put it in the C tier. Again, nothing necessarily wrong with this card, and we
Right.
debated putting it in B, but there were just a few other cards that we felt kind of etched it out, so we're like, we'll drop this one down. Next, we're jumping over to the American Express side of things and the Amex Gold. Now, this is a card I do have personally, so I can kind of attest to some of these things. But getting into the actual details, there is a $325 annual fee. Yeah, definitely painful. I'm not a big fan of it because they just increased it. It was 250 a couple months ago. They're like, we're gonna bump up a lot of our annual fees. I don't like it, obviously, because it does cost me more. And they didn't really add any benefits on top of that to make me like, oh, it's worth that. In fact, a couple more people like Costco and everything are dropping Amex where Amex isn't accepted everywhere. So
Yeah.
not really trending in the way I like to see cards trend, but still a good card. They have a lot of rewards in it. They typically offer 60,000 points when you spend $6,000 in the first 6 months, but right now they're offering 90,000. And that happens a good bit, so just keep an eye out. Then they offer 4 times points on restaurants and US supermarkets, 3 times points on flights booked directly with the airline or through Amex Travel, 2 times points on prepaid hotels and other eligible purchases through Amex Travel, and 1 times points on everything else. Top of that, they offer a few credits, the biggest ones being a $120 dining credit at certain places like Grubhub, Cheesecake Factory, Goldbelly, Wine.com, Milk Bar, and select Shake Shack locations. And then one I definitely do use myself is a $120 Uber Cash credit. On top of that, American Express has some great purchase protections that go a little bit beyond other ones, so we wanted to throw that out there. But like I said, that increase in annual fee is a huge con for me. The fact that more places are not accepting Amex, another huge con.
Yeah.
I mean, just the other day we went out and tried to get some food at a Chinese place. Like, oh, we don't accept Amex.
Yeah.
That's becoming more and more common, I feel like. So a huge hit to them, in my opinion. And if you saw our travel credit card video, you're like, oh, that was an S tier. Is it the same now? Just for an everyday use card, and all things considered, I actually was kind of leaning towards putting it in the B tier, which I feel like is a pretty big drop, but one I feel like is kind of warranted.
Yeah, and it kind of seems like it is trending downwards by increasing the fees without increasing the benefits of it and being accepted less and less places. That to me isn't a card that screams, let me go out and get it right now.
Yeah.
So that is a huge downfall, but you never know. They might turn things around. We could see big news. Who knows when? But next travel credit card video we put together could change from our last, could change from this ranking. So it just depends on the category we're talking about at the time and your lifestyle. So jumping into our last and final cards, we'll call it, we kind of pair these two together, is the Synchrony Plus MasterCard and the Synchrony Premier MasterCard. So we paired these two together because they're very, very similar. They just have one difference realistically. Both of them have no annual fee. The Plus card is typically for decent credit or fair credit, while the Premier card is for a little bit better, so I would say good credit. On the Plus card, you get 1% back. The Premier card, you get 2% back. That's it.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the whole card. It sums up everything. Again, you don't really get a choice between the Plus versus the Premier. It's just based on your credit score and your credit worthiness. But 1% versus 2%, not only not exciting, it's not very great. Like there's no bonus. There's no bonus categories, let alone bonus intro. There's no 0% APR. There's no shiny object. There's nothing that makes me want to go, I need that card. So for that reason, we put this as probably our lowest in the D category.
All that to be said, if you guys have any experience with these cards or you know more about it, like, oh, there's this hidden feature that no one really knows about, please leave it down in the comments below. Let us know. We have some of these cards, so we can definitely personally test some of them. Some of them, we don't have, partially because we don't think they're that great. Also, just because, some of them don't really fit our lifestyle. So that all goes to say, if this card, if we put it in the C category, and but it fits my lifestyle perfectly, it might be an S for you. So these are kind of just overarching kind of things that we put out there. We put these tier lists to what we think the more average person would probably deal with. So all that to be said, do your own research and choose what card works best for your lifestyle.
And as always, please feel free to comment anything below. We look forward to reading your comments, as well as seeing you like this video and subscribe to our channel. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Stop wasting money on that dumb shit and instead put it in investment. I know it's tempting. You'll spend it and be broke again.